The sponsor of this episode is Chadwell Supply, an OG in the multifamily industry. Chadwell Supply is the largest privately owned maintenance and repair supplier, and they deliver orders the next day from local warehouses across the United States. To find out how Chadwell Supply will make your day better, visit www.chadwellsupply.com/difference.
Welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. Join in as we explore motivation, inspiration, and engage in thought-provoking conversations. We provide actionable ideas to help you establish a solid foundation to achieve your career goals. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and I'm excited to bring you inspiring stories that will empower you to reach your full potential. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. And I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and this episode is brought to you by Multifamily Media Company. And I am so excited today to have Latrice Leake as my guest. We are going to dive into so many great things, insights, her story, her inspiration, the way she empowers her community, but also her teams, because she is a learning and development specialist for Mission Rock Residential. She's been in the industry for over 26 years. How have I not met you yet, Latrice? Oh my goodness.
Like it was divine timing. It had to happen.
It definitely was divine timing. And, you know, I always say great things happen when it's supposed to happen, right? And so please welcome Latrice Leake. As she just really just gives us so much insight today as we just kind of tap on so much stuff that I have lined up that I'm going to put her on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to do that to you. She's like, me? No, but just having a great rounded question. I do want to add in that she is a devoted mother. And this is what's a fun fact I didn't know. She's a 5-time published author. So stay tuned for that because we will talk about that. Welcome, Latrice, so much for coming and joining me.
Thank you, Lissi, for this opportunity. It's wonderful to connect with your community of those that are thriving in multifamily. So
yes, you said it, thriving in multifamily. And it's not just thriving in multifamily, right? It's thriving in life in itself. We were just talking about the ups and downs and storms of life. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is overcoming that and doing the best that you can. So please share us your story. Let the world know a little bit of how you got into the industry. I said 26 years, and let's go from there.
Okay. So I'm an 80s baby. Y'all guessed it. Just joking. I started in property management part-time in my last year of high school. And it was back in the day where ledgers were done with pen and paper, and we passed out keys to show apartments. And it's just been a wonderful journey. I always tell people like that are interested in like breaking into the industry, either you'll love it or you'll hate it. You'll be married to it or divorced in a week. Because it is not for the faint of heart. It really is for passionate individuals who have like this strong grit that can kind of hang in there, that resilience factor. And so that's what I did. I just hung in there and have enjoyed the ride.
Wow. You said some great keywords already, resilience and passion. Because this industry is not for the faint of the heart. But at the same time, when you're in it, right? It's almost like that bounce back effect, because at the end of the day, if you get thrown back, you're like, I'm coming right back to it. So you gotta love what you do. It's all about serving people. So what are some common challenges you think people have or face when it comes to their journeys?
I think really understanding identity. A lot of times we focus on teams, and this team does this and this team does that. But individualization is such a passion for me, really being able to tap into people's individual gifts. And I think sometimes we lose ourselves in the ocean of teams. And we really don't get to focus in on what does this individual do really, really well. And then highlighting and celebrating those strengths.
Oh, I love how you said that. So what do you do to kind of pull that out? Being in the role that you're in, that's what we do every day. So what is it? What's that knack that you have?
So, okay, by nature, I'm a very, this is great, this is fun person. But my boss, Bobby Marcourt, I'm going to shout her out. She is a very analytical person. I think
Mhm.
being able to marry the fun with the analytics and being able to
Mm.
tie back, the actual worth and value that that team member has presented to the team that they've invested, like being able to show them like numbers, like
Yeah.
you collected $1 million, like whatever. Just being able to tie those things back and really reminding them, especially when they're in a rut. I really
Yeah.
specialize in invigorating teams that are in distress. That is like one of my biggest passions. I
Oh,
love seeing it. I love the low numbers. I love the low occupancy. It can be frustrating at times, but being able to like encourage that team and push and like even push when they're not happy with me pushing, because
yeah.
I know the other side of that. Right. You ever had that coach, like maybe those of you who have been in sports, you
Yes.
have that coach that's like, you can do it. Like, I don't want to see anything less than greatness from you. And you're like, oh my gosh. In the
Oh,
heat of it, it doesn't feel good. But on the
yeah.
other side of it, I love seeing the other side.
Yeah. Those aha moments. Yes, we've all
Yes.
had those coaches. I remember clearly of those coaches. I'm like, I'm not listening to you right now. I don't feel it. But that's what we do. And so like how do you keep people motivated, especially when it comes to where they are feeling down or feeling like I'm not going to hit that goal or I'm not going to get to that next level. Like what is some prepping things that you do besides just being that cheerleader?
Really like digging in and understanding like the historical trends that maybe the property, okay, every year we drop here, like don't freak out, it's not you, but let's get ahead of the curve. I've been having the conversations with some of our team members that may be kind of toggling on that lower 90%
Yeah.
occupancy, right? And
Yes.
reminding them it's August, it's hot outside, but it's about to get really cold. So
Yeah.
let's set ourselves up for success. If the little squirrel outside can remember every year to collect up the food and to prepare for the winter, we need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Really being realistic about where we're going, where we've been, celebrate our wins. I think a lot of times
Mm.
we take a moment, oh, this is great, look at what we did, and then we move on. And we
Yeah.
don't really take a moment to pause and toast to the good times, right? You got 5 leases today. Let's not toast and like drink on work time. But I mean, like really like celebrating that person. Like, what's your favorite snack? Come to work the next day. You got a
Mhm.
balloon, a report of what you did. And,
Yes.
like just shouting you out, put a card out there, like something to really make people feel valued. I
Uh,
think it's easy to feel like a number in our industry. Like we don't,
mm.
you know. And one thing that Mission Rock, my company, does really, really well is making each person feel special.
I
And
love that.
I can't tell you all the secret sauce.
I want the secret. I love
That
those.
is one thing we do really, really well is that we make our team members feel very special and very celebrated.
Ah,
So
I love that. You hit on a couple of gems. I call them gems if you ever know me into that sense where they're positive nuggets
yeah,
about, making people feel special. I think that's number uno, right? That's what makes your employees, your team members stay with you. But then feeling valued. And I think that is such a key word. And so that's amazing that you're a part of something that has that. And especially when it comes to motivating individuals to want to succeed or to grow, you got to make them feel valued in their
you
roles and
have to.
positions, right? To work harder. It's almost like that tough love, like you said, like the coach. I'm going to be tough, but I still want to see you be really good at what you do, right?
Right. I'm tapping into my multifamily auntie vibes. I think everybody
I
needs
love
a
it.
multifamily auntie, right? Because you have
Yes.
in your family like that one aunt that's like, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to see anything but greatness from you because it's in you. Just sometimes people need that reminder. I need that reminder. I
Me
have those
too.
people that Latrice, let's go. And
Mm-hmm.
it just reminds me of who I am. It grounds me. And so we need those people.
I
Even
love
when
it.
we're not doing the best too. Like, hey girl, you can do better than that. So
Yes. I love how you said the multifamily auntie. We all need that. That's the new word for mentor. It's the auntie. The auntie that's like, look, do you want the real or the not? Because I am not Willy Wonka and we ain't going to sugarcoat this.
Period. Not happening, Captain. Nah.
But I love you because I want to see you do great. I love that. So next time I see you, I'm like, there goes I'm going to put that. That's a quotable moment. I'm going to put Latrice said, look, she is the multifamily auntie, the new one of our industry.
I am.
Oh
I
my gosh.
that's right.
That's such
Yeah.
good vibes because when everyone thinks about their auntie, they think about that good person that's just going to be there for them, that great confidant, that great pusher. So I love that you said that. It speaks volumes on that. So, who has been one of your personal motivators or influences in your life?
Oh, man. So I would say coming into the industry, I really didn't have anyone. I didn't
Mhm.
even honestly, I thought it was a job. I was like, I'm gonna just work this job. I need some money. And then like as I began to get into the industry, it was like I really didn't have anyone that I felt responded to me. And so like I
Mm.
know like as I've kind of come up the ranks, I've had people reach out like, can you mentor me?
Yeah.
I would reach out to people and never really get the response back like they were interested. So I just kind of kept my head down and worked. And so I would say in my latter years,
Mm-hmm.
our CXO, Marcella Epsteiner, has been a tremendous blessing. When I say blessing, I know,
Yes.
in our industry, we don't typically talk about a blessing, but when I
Right.
say she's young, but she gives that auntie vibe, like, no,
Mm-hmm.
step it up. She has definitely been a mentor. My supervisor, I talked about her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like watching the industry now, I kind of have my head up and I'm more interested in what's happening. And I'm on LinkedIn. Before it was just, I guess I didn't see it. I was kind of on that low level. And when I'm from Baltimore, so if you
Mm-hmm.
can't hear the accent, but like when you go downtown, you feel so small. Like on the
I do
ground,
now. Small.
right? Small. Okay. So on the ground you feel small. Like you see the taxis, you hear the
Mm.
honking, you see the pigeon stuff on the ground. You might get hit with one if you don't move out of the way, like coming from the sky. But when you go up the elevator, and I'm not saying the elevator of success, but when you
Mm-hmm.
elevate your mindset, it looks
Mm.
different. You don't hear the small sounds from the ground. I think I've
Mm.
really elevated my perception, my experience, because it's not just a job anymore. It really
Mm.
is my passion. It's what I love to do. So yeah, I don't hear the honks as much. I see them and I give attention, but for the most part, my vision is a lot more aerial than it was.
Wow. Wow.
It's
I love that. I love how you say that. It's not about the small, it's just when you elevate your mindset. And when you start doing that, gosh, you see bigger things. And I
yeah.
think you hit on something that I kind of want to tap into a little bit because it is so important with our mindset to always think big, dream big, see yourself doing things that you didn't think you can do because you'd be amazed when you put things out there and how things come back to you and the timing of things. And I'm a firm believer of that. And so, and not everyone does that. And I often wonder why and how come, in that sense to where do they, that strength of having that motivator, that influence. So, all right, everyone, you got to be Latrice's go. She's your auntie and mentor, and she's going to elevate that mindset. I so love that. That is so important. So you're very passionate. I've heard that word a few times, and you can tell when you talk about it within your role and giving back and helping people. And that kind of goes into just being an advocate, right? And being on the DEI. So tell me a little bit about why you're so passionate about that.
Well, so my passion for DEI, of course, did not start with multifamily. As growing up as a Black woman in poverty,
Mm-hmm.
I understood that there was a certain set of statistics assigned to me when I was born. When you're born in poverty in the middle of Baltimore City in Section 8 housing, like, oh, you'll only go so far, you only do this, and this will happen. And, there's kind of like a trajectory that people kind of map out for your life. And
Yeah.
I remember as a little girl, and it's so great because vision is one of my superpowers. I don't know. I took one of those tests and it's like vision.
Yeah.
It's one of I remember having my little Catholic school uniform. My mom worked really hard to put me in private school.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting my education. And I would walk down the street and kids would be like, oh, she thinks she's better than us. I never thought that, right? But while they were like attacking me and saying different things, I was walking down the street and I remember saying over and over, this will not be my end. My children will not grow up here. Like I was affirming myself. Like you talk about
Wow.
a mantra. Like I was affirming
Yes.
those things and speaking those things before they were, even as a little girl. And that has been my life.
Oh,
And it has literally carried me, my faith, my the people that I believe God has aligned me with, even in our industry, has literally carried me
yeah.
to this place that I'm in. And I'm very grateful for everyone
I
that's
love
helped me.
that. I think it's always comes from something deep rooted that kind of gives us our passion to drive to continue to advocate or provide platforms or to make
Yeah.
changes and make a difference. And I think that's something you're doing, not only just within your workplace, but also within your community too. And I think that says a lot. It's the servant heart that we have, right? Or you have in that sense. And so can you share an experience that that made a difference for you besides that when it came to the workplace, with your with an inclusive environment? I got tongue tied.
Sure. I would say I actually shared it with you kind of when we briefed
Yeah.
for getting ready. I've been in my industry 26 years, and it's like I've looked for myself or the representation of someone that looked like
Mm-hmm.
in many spaces and really didn't find it. I felt like there is this unspoken, thing like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you can only go as far as a property manager at that time, I would say. And so I was looking for myself in a leadership role and not really finding it. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was at a different company and my RM actually left that company. And I was the collection guru when I tell you, like, I had a 720 unit community and
Girl.
I had the delinquency under 1%. Like the people were like, Latrice, I'm bringing my money. Like even the people that hated me when I started, they were like, girl, because I would find resources and all those things. So long story short, the RM leaves, comes to Mission Rock, and she's like, I want you to come over here. And I'm like, this is a lateral move. Like, no. Like I only like moved to Elevate and I kind of paused and I was like, let me look on the website.
Yeah.
I looked on the website and saw Marcella. And I was so blown away by seeing a brown woman. At the time, she was the director of marketing. I'd never seen
Mm.
that. I know that sounds crazy. And to some people who've always maybe been on the top floor, they've seen that. It's not a new thing to them. I've never seen it. I've worked for companies with just one demographic across the
Yep.
board. And they weren't women at the time. So the
Yep.
companies that I've worked for, lots of men in position. And to see her kind of made me feel like there's a possibility. Do I want to be the director of marketing? No. But I want to know that there is a seat at the table for me, that people like me have
Yes.
the opportunity to lead because how do
Yes,
I
I
how do
love
I
that.
see
I love
myself
that
as
a
a leader if
lot.
I don't
And
see myself
you
as a
hit on
leader?
something that is so, so important. So with that, Latrice, I think, we all want to see ourselves at a seat at the table. And at the end of the day, continue putting out there and advocating, continue having where, organizations show that representation for all, for us to see that and
Yeah.
to know that. And that's what change is all about. That's what gets us to that point of that next level. And those conversations, it's having those tough conversations to where we can be at, and not having us be a seat at the table and we can't voice our own.
Okay.
There you go, right?
Bring my whole self to the table, right?
Yes.
Are my braids welcome at the table? Is my accent welcome at the table?
Yes.
Um, yeah, I was sharing with the multifamily, melanin and multifamily group yesterday. Like, this is one of the first times that I didn't feel like I had to code switch to feel
Oh,
welcome. Like, I could
wow.
literally just show up and like, our CEO or our president is like, "What's up,
Hmm.
Latrice?" Like, so cool. Like, no, everyone doesn't have to conform, but you really have a place.
Yeah, I love
It's one
that.
thing to have the access, but it's another thing to be inclusive and invite
Hmm.
the opinions of everyone.
Chadwell Supply is the proud sponsor of Multifamily Media Network. Chadwell Supply is the largest privately owned MRO supply company and is committed to the multifamily industry. They deliver orders the next day from local warehouses across the United States. Chadwell Supply offers valuable resources such as maintenance training, a dedicated renovations team, and procurement platform assistance, ensuring multifamily properties operate more efficiently. Now, by partnering with Chadwell Supply, they'll help communities stand out in the increasingly competitive market. So learn more at chadwellsupply.com/difference.
So I love that.
You said it. You hit it right there on the nail. And I couldn't agree with you more 100%. So what about within your community? What are some things that you do? I was, looking at your bio and doing some research, and I was like, oh my God, she inspires me. Like, I'm always about wanting to get more involved. And I think it's so important when you're involved in your community, it leads even to more of that. So
Yes, I'm one who truly believes that the greatest of them serve, right? We've heard that's very familiar, but serving others has been a lifeline to me. I'll tell
mhm.
you, at the times when I'm lowest in my life,
Mm,
serving others has literally pulled me out of a pit, life, like in a
mm.
life
Yeah.
sense. So feeding the homeless has been a long term passion of mine. One of my favorite things to do in the summertime specifically is that we do these barbecues. There's a place called Bum Park, and of course I didn't name it Bum Park, but it's where a lot of our unfortunate, financially stretched, maybe homeless individuals or
Mhm.
those without placement, they kind of sleep in this courtyard, and it's a Catholic church, and
Yeah.
they have this courtyard behind it, and the priest is so kind. If you ask, you can always bring food in, and we take grills and we do like a
Oh,
community barbecue, and like I pass out
wow.
cards, and we make it like a backyard, like almost like a luau. That is one of my favorite things to do, and it's so funny because another group like popped up after we got there, and they had like a crock pot of like boiled hot dogs. No shade on boiled hot dogs, but I'm like, let's get them
Talk about that's what I know.
sirloin burgers. Like we fed them so well. We do like Southern food or soul food, and it's really meant to make everyone feel human. Love giving out. We do
Mhm.
toiletries and different things. So it's a thing that really it helps me, but it helps others.
Yeah.
As well as like women's events. I do like ministry events and everything.
Ah,
So
I love that. It's always about when you find your purpose in something that drives you, it's almost like it helps you in that sense. And I can relate to that so much, Latrice, because when you're down and you give back to other people and you're helping them, you realize like, whoa, okay, it's not my story is not so bad, but at the same time, I'm so enlightened and it just becomes lifted and then you're
yeah.
happy and your spirit's happy. And I love that you do that as well. So let's kind of navigate into your speaking. I know you're hot on the camaraderie here as a speaker too. What made you navigate into speaking? What was that journey like? Because I know I never thought I was going to be a speaker. It's like things just kind of just happens in life, right? Depending on your
Right.
journey and your path.
So to be honest, I had no concept of even doing that. Like I really wasn't aware of NAA. I know that's like hard for a lot of people to believe, but like all of the speaking opportunities in our industry, like I really didn't see myself as someone that could give value to a room. Unfortunately, I didn't see that.
What?
Real talk. And so I was working as an assistant manager with my company, and then like
Mhm.
within 8 months I got promoted. And at my interview um at the time I think she was the director of L&D or training,
Mhm.
Anissa Foss. She was like, you're gonna speak and you're gonna do this, and I'm looking at her like, yeah, right. I didn't like say it in the interview, but I was like, how? Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. But it was like she was just literally saying, you're going to do this, you're going to be great, there's going to be a demand for your name. And I'm like, okay. Had no clue. No clue.
And look where you're at now, right?
No, I appreciate it.
I tell you, you never realize when you step into something, you're like, okay, I'm stepping into this. But I know you said a lot of your speaking really started back with your ministry, which I think
Yeah,
is amazing. And, and giving back on that note. And, I think anything of your why and what you're speaking on is what comes out passionate with that, right? And
exactly.
so I can't wait to see more of your speaking down the line. I know it will be amazing. So I want to kind of throw and switch it up on some words. I always like to kind of see how things are. So I want to give you some words and you just tell me, what does it mean to you? Like what's your first thoughts? Okay. Are
Okay.
you ready for this fun game? I know
I'm
this
ready. I'm ready.
is great conversation. Get it going. So what does empowering mean to you?
To launch. To launch.
Love that.
It's
Whoa.
like the rocket has what it needs. It just needs a fire.
Yes.
It just needs a fire. No combustion. I'm the combustion. I am. You got the fire. You got the rocket. You got the driver. But you just need a little something.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. I don't think I ever would have thought about like that. And that's amazing. And I know we mentioned passion, but what about if someone out there is like, okay, what is passion versus purpose? What does those two words mean to you?
I believe that purpose fuels passion. And that
Mm.
when you tap into your purpose, you'll have the fuel that you need to operate in your passion. A lot of us are trying to do something that we've never been called to do. Like, if your gift is to lease apartments, I don't care if you've been in the industry 15 years, lease apartments.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Your money will be there. Your commission will be there. You'll get put on lease ups. You'll get put on new acquisitions. Like, lease. If that's your if that's your purpose,
Yes.
your passion will be there.
It will. It will. I always think that your purpose is something that you gravitate towards, that comes super easy and natural to you. And in the sense that that's where your love of it comes out from that end. And I like earlier back then, you said you were a visionary. That was one of your key words. Yeah. And that's me. I've always I vision things and see things like, when you have your mantras and your sayings and where I was before to here, I would never have thought that, but you can vision it and you can see it, but you just don't know how it's going to play itself out with it. So yeah. All of that kind of lines in with your passion and your purpose. And once you tap into that, like you said, but a lot of people, it's hard to find that, right? I guess it's a lot of sitting still.
But that's the importance of the collaboration piece, because those who are visionaries don't always see the granular pieces in between. And that's why we need people around us that can help us pour into the vision and to work the smaller parts that we don't see. We see the end result, we see the building being built, but what about the windows and the electricity and plumbing? Like, it needs plumbing, girl.
Prefer the plumbing.
Yes.
Before the plumbing, don't we need a foundation?
Foundation. Okay.
We need concrete. Then the walls up, let's move, right?
You're worried about Wi-Fi when you need a foundation, right?
But you gotta be out there like this. Hey, oh my gosh, I love that. That is so, but it's the truth. That's what it is. Everything starts with the foundation. And then from that, it grows within that. But if you're a visionary, we see this. And then we're like, okay, now we got to backtrack. And I like how you said people pouring into you. I think that's so important. I always feel like, and maybe you agree with me on that, like you always should have certain people that play such an intricate part of your life, right? The people who are going to pour into you with the positive, the people who are going to give you the constructive, the people who are going to say, okay, this is this way. It's like different. I had a friend tell me it's like 5 different types of mentors, right? In your life, whether it's spiritual, whether it's work-related, relationship, either one of those ways to help you be able to navigate to the better place that you're supposed to be at. So
absolutely. Being open to listen. I think a lot of times we get those people and we really take advantage of the importance of their pour or their voice in our life. And so when you're blessed to have a mentor, whether it's business or wherever, make sure that you value those words, Wow. It's like Rocky. What was the man's name? I forget his name. Rocky's mentor. He was like bossy and fussy. You're going to run. You're going to do this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The guy was like, but I think
you talking about Rocky on
yes.
Oh, I forgot that it's slow.
Oh my gosh. Somebody put it in the comments. I don't know.
Rocky Balboa. But what was it?
Rocky Balboa. Who was his mentor? I forget. I actually thought on that before.
I can't remember. Now, if you want to say the new version.
Right. At the end of the day, it was his mentor's words that played back when he got into rough situations. It's the voice of your mentor that sometimes really helps you to pioneer into those spaces that you're called to.
I like that. Pioneer. What is that word? I was going to bring it out. You
Pioneer is forging forward. It's literally, of course, you should consider the cost of any acquisition, any project. Yeah. But forging forward, if you know that that's what you're supposed to do, if you know you're supposed to start a business, if you know you're supposed to apply for that promotion,
Yeah.
Forward, pioneer, go into it like
Yeah.
fearlessly, because if that's where you're supposed to be, everything that you need will align.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books is The Alchemist. And I remember hearing like Oprah and Pharrell talk about the book. And I'm like, what is this about? Will Smith. And I read The Alchemist. Well, I didn't read it. Let me take that back. I'm a mother of a 7-year-old who's very busy. So I was listening on Audible. Because it was the only way I could do it. It was like a long book. But the book, one of my favorite lines is that all of the universe conspired to bring you here. Like everything that is around you, every star in the sky, every drop in the ocean is conspiring for you to be this person, to get to this place, to get to your purpose. And so sometimes we fight against it, but it's all working to bring us to the place that we're supposed to be.
Okay, I'm gonna go get that book, or I'm gonna sit
The
there and read
Alchemist.
it and definitely listen to it, because you have now tapped into my intrigueness. I'm like, tap what it is, because there's days where I sit back, I'm like, what is my purpose? And like, it, you feel it, you sense it, and then you speak to people. And especially with this platform, having, guests and having, your insightfulness and your words of wisdom. I remember what I had asked you when we first had the conversation. I was like, hold on. Like, you got that knack too, huh? Fine now.
Love it.
But I love that. But the book sounds very intriguing, and especially if anyone wants to tap in and learn a little bit more, because I do think and believe the universe all does conspire, right? And it's the signs, it's the little things, and it's the being still. And so, we could probably go into another whole conversation, Latrice.
Agreed.
Agree, but I love this. I mean, you bring so much as far as your knowledge, your passion, your goal driven, being a DEI advocate, also just your community involvement in serving, a speaker, and your journey of that, and just listening to what continues to inspire you and motivate you. Personally, but what about, work related? Like, where do you see yourself, if you could, in 5 years? Or I always say that, and then be like, I don't know, I'm just here today.
Goodness. So I'm living in my 5-year goal.
Oh, I
Right.
love it. Yeah.
See myself really like honing in on my skills, just kind of like really doing what I'm doing now, but to another level, being able to empower more people and reach more audiences. And that's becoming more of a passion for me. I didn't think I could do it back then, like in 2020 when she told me, but I'm like, I could do this. Like I really believe in the impact that speaking does. I know a lot of people don't get it. They're like, why do you want to go out and speak to audiences? Or those are the people that just want to be seen. And that's totally not it. It's like, if I can empower a room full of 20 people and they go back home and empower 20 more people and maybe 5 more from that, like how many people are you impacting? It's like that. I remember like getting to water, because we didn't grow up around water. There was no water around the inner harbor, which was not real water. But just joking. But throwing a pebble into like a little lake and seeing it ripple out, and understanding that one pebble, one speaking engagement, one encounter with Lissi, like one thing ripples out. So if you get something out of this conversation and then you give something to someone else, it may not be a quote, but if some of the energy and the excitement and the passion that I have on me rubs off on you, and vice versa, and I give something to somebody else, how powerful is that? So doing more of that.
I love that. But that's the truth. I think that's what it's all about. It's collaborating, working. But I love how you say that. I love the whole analogy of the pebble in the river. And one small effect is a bigger effect to a bigger effect. Yeah. And that's how change is made. And that's how you really do. That's very inspiring, but that can also impact so many lives. That's what thriving in multifamily is all about, right? It's that impactfulness. All right. So I definitely want to ask you, what is your personal mantra or affirmation that you say or would like to encourage or share to the world?
It's so funny because I know everyone used to joke about the Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
But mine for my advice for others, I don't specifically have one because it changes depending on the season that I'm in, right? Like I have a different need for wherever I am. I'm constantly evolving, constantly changing. But I would say just be you.
Mm.
I always tell my teams, you being authentically you, showing up in that space is authentically you is your superpower. Like wear it like a cape. If you are an analytical person, and like sometimes I'll ask my teams to do something and like, oh, we got to be bubbly like you. No, be 100% you. That is what's going to open the doors. That's what's going to create the opportunities. That's what's going to hold space in you for joy when the industry starts to wear you out and you get burnt out. That's what's going to keep you together. So just be you.
That I don't think you can set it any better. That's
It's so
just
simple.
it is. Be truly authentically you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we all have to work on, and something that, we're all the advocacy, and people feel comfortable and people are able to have those conversations and know that they can show up and be a Latrice and be a Lissi and be able to perform the way they should. And so I love that you give that energy within your training classes, and people feel that way. That's exciting. I'm going to attend one of your trainings. Okay.
But I'm grateful for the space to be able to do that, because I have to say I was not always afforded that space. It was more like, okay, when you come into a room and it's like, oh, there's no joking, like joking and
Oh yes,
jovial and happy to be there is considered unprofessional. Like I don't want to work anywhere where being happy is considered unprofessional.
I agree with you. It's like life is already serious. So
Wow.
you
Out by 5 residents. What? I'm trying to keep sanity, right?
I mean, you have to be like you said. It's
Right.
just life is so serious. Sometimes you just got to stop, laugh, and enjoy those precious moments. And that's what it's really all about too. On top of your mantra and your words of being you. And so, well, man, this has been such an amazing conversation with so much things that we kind of covered all the way around, right? The basis. And if you don't know Latrice Leake, I strongly recommend you to start following her on LinkedIn and get to know her. She is one awesome lady, and I'm excited that I got to share the space with her today on Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, brought to you by Multifamily Media Network. And as always, stay visionary. Thank you, Latrice.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I hope our conversations have inspired you to act and achieve your career goals. Remember, the key to success is to continue learning and growing. And as always, stay visionary. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our industry podcasts, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities.